Rebecca, I should have introduced. Rebecca is the volunteer coordinator at the Maritime Museum, and she is our best friend. Right. She's also a docent.
I'm the only one who gets paid.
If you call it that. Yeah. Good morning. Look at all this blue. Wow. Wow. And Barbara? Where's Karen? There's, back there in the back, that's my sister. We've been here together a very long time. Actually, you're all my family. And I say that, but those of you in the blue shirts, you do know that. Those of you that haven't earned your blue shirt, you're going to find that out. We do call this the Hotel California. You're here, you're stuck. I got my Captain Carl Scragg is around here somewhere. There he is. I got Bill. I got everybody here. Everyone here is my family. That's why I'm here. On March 4th will be my 24th anniversary here at the museum.
Rebecca.
Oh, is that a promise? So welcome. I know some of you have a lot of questions. We had a big surge since Thursday. I actually took a day off. No. So now I am 1 week behind because I took a day off. Oh, that's Nancy. Nancy has been here with me forever. And she was a docent trainee when I was on the docent board. And then I tried to get her to work in the gift shop with me. She didn't like that. But she is the museum secretary here. And she does just about everything that I could possibly need. So we've been here. We had a little year break during COVID, but we pretend that didn't happen anymore. So, but we're back together. My desk was right behind hers for a good year. A good year. I used to be in the operations department. Before that, I was on the front line. I also worked in accounting and everything else. I think I wear 20 hats. So if you see me kind of sporadically running through the museum, stay out of the way because I'm not going to see you. So we want to talk about a couple things. Thank you all for wanting to be docents here with us. It's a really incredible program that we have here. There are no volunteers in the world like Maritime Museum of San Diego volunteers. There is not a month that goes by that I don't have a call from another museum saying, how do you run your volunteers? The simple answer is, I don't, you guys run me. Okay? My job is to make sure you are happy and can do your job. So any questions, any gripes, come to me. If you don't like me, you can go to my boss, who happens to be our Chief Operations Officer, Mr. Jenner Austria. I report directly to our Chief Operations Officer and our President. So if you don't like me, go ahead, tell them. So there's not like anyone quite above me, but the high people. So if you need something, I'll find it. So we're going to talk about some things you need to do to be a volunteer here at Maritime Museum. First off, you're going to need to have a membership. If you do not have a membership yet, I would really encourage you to have it before next week. I can let you go maybe one more week, but that is a requirement of volunteering here at Maritime Museum of San Diego. Any membership works. You don't have to pay a whole bunch, just be an active member. And you'll enjoy it. You get discounts, you get coupons, we have great parties, stuff like that. You need to record your hours in the Volgistics system. You're all going to get a little card with a QR code and a number. That number is your volunteer number. It is not your membership number. It is your volunteer number. Every day when you come here, you're going to log in either with the QR code or in the tablet that is in the ticket booth. You're going to put in the number, say docent deck watch, docent training, whatever you want. Log out, go about your business. When you leave, you're going to go back in, clock out, and put in your round trip travel. Every hour is worth $42.35 to this museum. The state of California has the highest value for volunteers in the nation. These things help us leverage our grants and our matching donations. So they're really, really important. Every hour is important. You get great little prizes, right, Barbara?
Yes.
Yes. Is anybody wearing any of their pins? Of your award pins? Over there? Over there? Okay, so we start out at 50 hours for a red pin. 100 hours is a white pin. And then 250 is blue. You're up at 1,500, aren't you? Yeah, there's pins at certain levels and other really nice awards. I know you're going to tell me I don't need an award. I need to give you an award because I appreciate you. So you're going to learn how to clock in and clock out.
I think we'll do a live demonstration of that next meeting before we start the meeting.
Good.
You're going to want to know your docent training page. It's a private, super secret, if somebody Googled it hard enough, they find it, page that is dedicated to the docents. All of your training materials are there. All of our schedules are there. All of our contact info for the board, not everybody's yet, are there. You can download the manual, or you can get a printed manual. It's pretty big. There's a lot to learn. You're going to enjoy these lectures, and nothing on the test that you will take is not in that manual or will be spoken about in these lectures. So we have lots of things to do. It may seem a little intimidating, but hey, I did it, so anybody can. So, what else am I talking about?
I think that's good.
Okay, good. I can shut up now. Have fun.
We can always
Rebecca is an extremely resourceful person, and if we have issues and things, questions, whatever, she's a great person, although she's also very busy. Do we have any trainees that are not sitting in the first few rows here? Let her take this chair here. Yeah, I want to make sure our trainees come here. We get a good group of people. We get about 25 or 28 trainees this year. That's right in the normal spot we do. We're recognized as one of the best docent training programs around. We have museums and other organizations come and observe how we run our system. And largely, it's successful because unlike a lot of museums that hold everything behind glass and you get to point at it, but that's about all they'll let you do, this is a very hands-on organization. It's amazing the breadth of knowledge and experience that all these blue shirts and volunteers at the museum have. If you don't know the answer to somebody, all you do is have to ask somebody else, and pretty soon, you'll be writing a whole book on it, because we've got enormous breadth of knowledge here of people and backgrounds to go by. That's part of the joy of being a docent here, is the more you get involved, the more you get to know people, the more amazed you are about the camaraderie of the group of people. It's almost like a little family, and yet the amount of resources and experience we get to draw from. So if you're interested in being involved in that way, of having a hands-on experience, of greeting our guests and sharing the museum here, you found yourself a home. This is a unique museum. It's a 401(c) nonprofit organization. Somebody asked me if you could write off your parking meters, and I believe you can. Whatever you do here, we're a nonprofit organization. Unlike other museums who are mostly government sponsored, we're supported by our community, our donors, our volunteers, our people, our members. We have, instead of just one ship to talk about, we have over a dozen ships. In fact, we have a number of ships we have no room to display, and so we kind of rotate them in and out, and you'll learn about that as part of our training.
Just a second. I don't really mean to interrupt, but it's almost 10 o'clock, and anyone who hasn't dealt with their parking needs to go now. Okay?
I was going to say that, but she got it. So if you need to take care of your parking, you can just get up and go and come back. But everyone that has taken care of their parking, it starts at, whatever you paid for starts at 10 o'clock and goes to 1 o'clock. So you're in good shape. I was in the middle of something. Anyway.
12 ships.
Yeah, we have a dozen ships here, and we cover 500 years of maritime history.
Wow.
okay? So there's a lot to talk about. No one expects our docents to know everything. The- Except you, Nancy. Nancy's been here a while, so she's been able to get, but basically we learn from each other as we go. What this course will allow you to do is learn the basics of each ship so that you'll have, when you stand deck duty on a ship, you can point things out to our guests as they arrive, or you can answer questions. And the one key phrase you can always use is, you know, I don't know, but I'll find out. And there's always somebody around that can help you. So we're very supportive. Our key phrase is, tell me a story, because that's what people want to know when they come and visit us from all over the world. Why should I be interested? What's interesting about this? And we've all got stories that we like to tell, and that's what we do. We're storytellers. Anyone know what the term docent means?
Liar.
For most of us, you're a teacher. That's what a docent is, a teacher, okay? And as we talk and as we go through our manual and everything, you'll find out we don't make it up. If you don't know, use the phrase,
I don't find out.
I don't know, but I'll find out. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? But don't try and ad lib, because I'll tell you, our visitors love to play the game called Stump the Docent. Because when they ask you the question, they already know the answer. And if you give them a little BS, they're going to give it right back to you. Okay, so just don't be afraid to say, I don't know, but I'll find out. Okay. Any questions before we get started? We in good shape? Okay. So I'm going to do a little introduction here. What time do we have? Right on time. As you can see, our docents earn their blue shirts and a red badge. There it is. That's what you get at the end of your graduation, okay? You purchase the shirt, we have jackets and hats and all that. But you get your red badge, which makes you an official docent. In the meantime, we give you a temporary ID badge that you wear when you come here to the museum. That means you're a member. You've all purchased your membership, and you can come on at any point during the training and review the information, look at the ships, go over stuff. Get together with your mentor and walk around, and they will help you familiarize with the museum. After I finish speaking and you get acquainted with your mentors, then we're going to do a little walk around to get to know the logistical orientation of the museum, where the bathrooms are, fire extinguishers, ticket booths, all the basic information that you'll need to know when you start talking to our guests, okay? I'm going to pass around this little sign-off sheet. Just check off your name if you are here. If you're not on the list, since this is as of 5 o'clock last night, and then I got a whole new list after that, or I had to make one up. Write your name down, your phone number, your contact information, okay? This is only for the trainees. Okay. So one of the first things we should all know is, why is this museum here? Why does it exist? What do we do? What's important? Okay? And our mission is to maintain the community knowledge of our maritime experience, okay? Unlike other museums that usually only have one ship to talk about, we actually collect ships. And so when you come to the museum, as you can see here, we have a whole selection of museums. The San Salvador starts at 1542. That's about what, 500 years ago? And then we go all the way on up to the most recent fast boat from the Vietnam War era. Okay? We collect them, we maintain them, we preserve them, and we interpret them. Okay? We present them to our guests, and that's where a lot of us come in, because that's where everything culminates. All right, our guests come here and they want to know what's going on. But we do it all. The docent group is just one volunteer group at the museum. We also have a sale maintenance group that does all the work, along with a few handful of paid employees. We have our sail crew that actually sails the ship every weekend on 4-hour sails. It's very popular. We have a shipbuilders guild that does all these models you see around, is made by our shipbuilders guilds. What other groups do we have here? Did I miss any? So
Library and archives.
we have a curator that manages our library and our archives that you'll be able to see and use.
And our exhibits. Kevin does exhibits.
Kevin's all, okay, Kevin does exhibits.
Special events.
Yes.
We do special events, yes.
Education.
We're constantly, that's what we do. So we have actually probably closer to over 300 volunteers that keep this museum running.
Wow.
This museum relies on us. Without us, it would be a skeleton. And so we are the meat on the bones for this museum. So unlike other museums where you just sort of are allowed to do a little here, or you stand in the corner and keep an eye on things, we are hands-on, fully involved in all aspects of running the museum. And that really is a rewarding experience. So I hope you look forward to that kind of involvement, and we'll be very happy to bring you along with us. Oh, one other thing before I continue further. Bob Harrison has kindly, out of his own pocket, made hard copies of the docent manual. Some of us are old enough to actually want paper and pen and markers and be able to write in the margins and all that kind of, bend the corners on the pages. I love doing all that. The manual online is free, and you're welcome to use it. You're encouraged to use it. But if you're like me, I want a hard copy. Costs him $45 a copy to print all this out.
Wow.
Okay? If you wish to have one, there's a few there. We will run out because they disappear fast. Put your name on the list. Make sure that Bob gets reimbursed either through cash, check, Venmo, bullion. We take bullion. That's okay. We're very historic.
Avocados.
Avocados. I don't know, Bob. Avocados. Well, okay. So that's how you get your manual. Otherwise, it's on the webpage.
Feel free to
Okay?
grab one today and pay me next week.
Thank you.
Now,
I know where you all
sounds,
live now.
sounds like wimpy. Oh, never mind. All right, what's the purpose? All right, somebody's in a hurry. So what's the purpose? We have basically three major purposes of what we do here at the museum. Number one is we preserve the ships. And if you like getting your hands out dirty and getting involved in sanding, painting, varnishing, whatever work needs to be done, every Sunday morning, our maintenance crew meets on the Star of India at 8:30 in the morning. Don't be late, or our first mate will embarrass you as you come down the ladder. So Star of India, 8:30 a.m. is the sail maintenance every week. We also act as a repository for all of the things we collect. That includes the ships, but also vast quantities of items related to maritime history. only a small percentage of which you actually see here at the museum. There's so much that we have, much of it is in repositories and buildings and around, but we preserve and curate all of this material culture. So if you have specific interests, we could probably find something for you to do here.
Jim?
Jim, you have a question?
Yes?
So,
That material that's elsewhere, is it available to look at, or you're just storing it? What do you mean?
We curate it, we preserve it, we catalog it, and we have it available for research purposes. It's not a casual thing that you want to just drop in and kind of go through the stack. The library, you can check in and look at the books and use that. If you have a specific interest that maybe you're researching or you want to help out preserving, whatever, then you'll see our curator, Kevin Sheehan,
But it's not open to the
Dr.
public.
Sheehan. It's not open to the public, it's
Okay.
open to us.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And then finally, under purposes of the museum, illustrate. And that covers a wide range of activities. Education, somebody brought that up already. We have one of the most awarded and noted educational programs here at the museum, in which school-age kids come through here and spend the night and learn about maritime history. And they come back year after year, their parents and their grandparents going, yeah, when I was a kid, I spent the night here and I went through your program and I got to sail to California, you know, and that's something that really sticks with us. I think we do about 1,500 kids a year.
we did, what did, Peter just told me, we did 10,000 kids last year. My granddaughter interviewed.
I don't even know how you do that.
I just want to say something.
They're here every day.
Yeah.
A classroom of kids, or 2 classrooms of kids.
I've got a good friend.
Classrooms.
I have a good friend. He's 28 years old. He's a marine biologist at Scripps. Right now he's in Antarctica on Sally Ride. And he started here in 4th grade, spent the night. So I'm just saying, yeah,
We spark a lot of imagination.
seeing the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, thank you,
Ask
thank
when you
you.
had the rat stew.
He learned how to swap it.
And it's amazing because kids of that age, what, 8 or 9 years old, you ever try and get them to line up and be quiet?
Yes.
Within 3 minutes, they've got them going, yes, sir, no, sir, thank you, sir, you know, it's amazing. It's a great program. So education program, we are highly noted for that. We do a lot of exhibits. When Margaret takes you for a walk after we're down, I imagine she'll go down into our exhibit gallery. It's a rotating subject matter that we do. Award-winning exhibits we put out there, unbelievable. Public exhibitions and, sorry, my eyes are not that good, cultural events. That's where you guys come in, okay? You're the face of the museum, okay? You're there to be helpful, to help guide people around in any exhibit, any event. You'll always see people in blue shirts and red badges. We are the face of the museum, and it's a great opportunity because whatever the museum's doing, whatever exciting activities are going on, we're there to make sure it takes place smoothly and well, and the guests feel welcome. So those are our purposes for being here. You should memorize the mission. You should memorize the purposes of what we're here, because it's a good subject matter to talk to your guests about. Why are we here? Why is this important? Why should you care? Why should you give us money?
Where's the building?
Oh, we tried again.
Where's the building? A lot of people will be standing out front here and they go, well, where's the museum? Well, the ships are the museum and we're the interpreters. We are in the process of building a building out front here and moving the ships back. So then people, like most museums, will go, oh, there's a building with a sign on it, it's got, you know, and we'll become recognized in that way. But so far, this is our office, this is where we live, this is where we start. All of you got, who didn't, if anyone didn't, let me know, a schedule of the subjects that we will be covering each week. They will start with a coffee event, coffee and cakes around 9 o'clock. Come and enjoy. Don't forget to donate a little. We fund ourselves. Around 10 o'clock, we begin our first presentation. It will be each week, usually a specific ship's subject matter. At 11 o'clock, we'll take a little break, and then we'll have a second presentation. And then at noon, we'll do a walk around, usually on the ships we've been talking about, so you get a hands-on understanding and feel for what it is you're actually looking at, why you're there, and really get a feel for it, and get to ask your own questions. When we do this today, we'd like to have the mentors accompany their mentees so that it gives you a chance to get acquainted as we do a walkabout. Okay? On the top of the sheet that I sent you all, it's also available online on our webpage. There's a URL, sdmaritime.org/get-involved/docent. That's how you get to the training schedule, also how you get to the docent training manual. So if you haven't gone there yet, be sure to do it, because the fourth column is the meat of the program. That's where the manual assignments for each week are. As in school, and this is a little form of school, you're supposed to read in advance of the lecture. Yeah, well, okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm old enough to know better. But when you get to the 11th week is the final exam. You need to pass by 70%. 100% on the final exam is in the manual. Okay? You can actually not attend any of the lectures, read the manual, and pass the exam. Okay? We have independent studiers who actually do that or have done that. You had a question? Somebody had a question? No? Okay. Is there a hand back there? I can't see it.
This is David Clark. I should mention that on that URL for how to get to the docent page, there is actually also a shortcut. If you just go to sdmaritime.org/docent, it will redirect you to the right.
Okay. Nancy?
No, I was just saying that's great when we put in the
All right.
shortcut.
Now, some of you may have noticed some technical equipment sitting up here. We actually videotape our presentations, okay? So if you miss a lecture and you want to see it or catch up on it, it will be posted on our webpage, and you'll be able to go in and actually see it online, okay? Any other questions?
Jimmy, you might want to mention, the money we collect for the coffee, it goes for our docent picnic.
Well, the money we collect in the box back there goes to producing the coffee and the cakes and all that other stuff. The labor is a labor of love. We don't pay anybody for doing it. There's no profit involved. And the money, at the end of the year, we all have a docent picnic in which we get together and have a good time. All right. So the other crews, sail crews and stuff like that, go, well, how come they get a picnic? We don't. Says, well, you're cheap. Anyway, no, something. Anyway, I can't emphasize enough. You know, it seems like 11 weeks is a long time. You got plenty of time to get things done. I'm not in a hurry. The other requirement to graduate and get your red badge is that you actually have to come and shadow a tour. We do weekend tours. If the museum doesn't schedule one through outside parties, then our senior docents will volunteer. And actually, at the end of the program or on a Saturday or Sunday, will come down to the museum and they will lead you on a tour of how we would actually take our guests and show them the museum, show them the ships, okay? That's what we call a shadow tour. You have to do 3 shadow tours to graduate, okay? They have to be signed off by the senior docent who does the tour. So you have to print off the page I sent you in the welcome package, bring it with you, and have them sign it off, okay? Once you have completed 3 shadow tours, before you graduate, and everyone gets nervous about this, and there's no reason to, you've already done 3 tours, you've already done, you know, the whole manual, because everyone's gonna be going right through it, I know. And you then just lead a tour of your own with one of the board members. There's about 6 or 8. How many people do we have certified, Margaret? Anyway, when you're ready to lead your own tour, you let one of the senior people know. We schedule you and you just walk through the museum and tell us why we might want to be interested. You tell us a story or 2, okay? To show that you now have the confidence to do that, okay? Yes, ma'am?
So it's not for a specific vessel, it's more of a global
It's a 2-hour
introductory?
It's a
to
2-hour tour in which you cover all of the vessels. Now that means, that sounds like a lot, wow, right? You gotta run to do that. You get about 5 minutes on each ship and then a few 5 minutes to walk to the next ship and another 5 minutes, and pretty soon you got half your knowledge out and the 2 hours is over. There's a lot to talk about, okay? It's not that difficult, but people get nervous. Don't wait till the last minute, because you won't get your red badge until much later. You won't be able to go on to the graduation sale and all that kind of stuff. You all want to be there and graduate together. Okay, yes?
What ship is the graduation sail on?
Usually the Californian, sometimes the San Salvador. Any questions on that? This, I can't emphasize enough, is the most important thing for you to remember, because no matter how much I emphasize it, each class has a handful of people that are right down to the last minute and then end up not getting their badge because they procrastinated. They were nervous about doing it. It's not that hard, and we are really easy, okay?
I'm not clear as to when these tours are supposed to occur. After we do the 11 weeks?
No.
Or anytime?
No. Starting by the 3rd week, we will begin giving tours, and we'll say, those of you that are ready or want to do a shadow tour this Saturday, so-and-so is gonna be here at 9 o'clock, be there, and you show up.
Okay, that's easy.
Easy. We make it as easy as possible. David?
It's important that you do 3 shadow tours from 3 different docents.
Thank you. 3 different docents, okay? Can't be the same person just going over the same thing. Yes?
I have to say, the final tour was probably the most enjoyable part of the training program. Because it gives you an opportunity to just let your mind pour out and actually tell somebody all the things you've learned since you've been there. And there's nothing to be concerned about. It's a lot of fun. You'll really enjoy it.
On a 2-hour tour will allow you to actually talk about maybe 5% of what you actually have learned. It goes by that fast.
And then if we are taking you on your final two-hour tour, I am stealing all of your good ideas. Better.
We steal from everybody.
Collaborate.
Yeah, oh, excuse me, yes. All right, this is the most fun part. Yes.
Are any of the shadow tours or guided tours, are they during the week for those of us who work weekends?
We can make that arrangement.
We try to be as flexible as possible. We try to make them on Saturday or Sunday, but sometimes we'll do it right after our Tuesday meeting if somebody's available, and we try and make it as useful as we possibly can, and we can do it anytime. It's the docents, the senior docents that are supporting the trainees, because we all want you to succeed. That's the key. Remember that. We all want you to be part of the family. David.
Talking about the shadow tours, a way I find useful to think about this is this class and the manual are giving you a fund of factual knowledge. The shadow tours with 3 different docents drive home the point that different docents have different ways of presenting that same fund of factual knowledge. You do not have to slavishly imitate the docent that you did a shadow tour with. Everybody's going to do tours a little differently. They're going to present things in a different way, and of course, different groups. You've got a group of high school kids, and you've got another group of retired submarine engineers. They're going to have different interests. This training class and the manual give you a fund of factual knowledge. 3 different shadow tours gives you 3 different perspectives on possible ways to present things. You will develop your own way of doing this. Don't feel that you have to just parrot everything that some docent did.
And you will never know it all. I've been here 17, 18 years. I learn something every time I come down here. There's just tons to do. Yes?
During the week, sometimes Rebecca has tours.
Those are usually scheduled on.
The new docents.
Huh?
She's going to add the email the new docents so they have the opportunity to shadow one of those.
Yes.
Like Michael there.
Yes, you will. Yeah, we'll notify everyone when we have a tour that's paid for and booked by outside groups, okay? But if there's not enough tours, we make sure that we provide enough tours so everyone can find the time to come down and get their tours in, okay? As long as you don't procrastinate too much, all right? Okay, this to me is probably the most fun part of our first class is we've got about a half an hour before our president and CEO of our museum is going to come up and give us an orientation talk at 11:05. The people that I have notified that are going to be mentors at this point, would you stand up? All right. That doesn't mean they're the only ones qualified. They're just the people. No, stay standing up. I know you're old. It's okay. But that's the number of trainees we have. All of you other guys that I haven't called on yet, thank you for being available. But I want the docent mentors and the trainees to find each other, and you have about a half an hour to just get acquainted before the next talk starts. Yes?
Would it possible to have each of the new trainees just say something about themselves for like a 30 seconds?
That'd be fun. But then you wouldn't, all right, well, anyway. Have to be quick, because now we've got a whole new, and yeah, if the trainees wish to stand up and introduce themselves and say something about themselves, please.
Yeah, my name is Bill Burgess, and I'm a retired dentist. And I've had. No. My name is Philip Burgess, and I'm a retired dentist. And I've had 8 boats, and I've sailed across the Pacific Ocean with 2 other guys. Wow. And had a lot of boating experience. I've done all of the island groups and all of that stuff. So.
Welcome aboard. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is B. Hannah, and I've been sailing since I was 12, no powerboats. Been through the canal. Went through the canal back in 1974, had to learn celestial navigation and all that stuff.
Wow.
All we had was an RDF, a radio direction finder. Ended up racing Hobie Cats when Hobie was alive on the circuit. And that was back in the late 60s. More recent years, my husband and I had a sailboat charter business here. We had the vessel Stars and Stripes and Il Moro di Venezia, the Italian boat. So those were both the 1992 America's Cup boats that raced here. They're both on the hard now, behind the sports arena. Il Moro's going to Italy in March. So, anyway, there you go.
Thank you.
Just a little
Welcome
update.
aboard.
Thank you. Good morning. My name's Alan Tate. My background is I'm a retired naval officer, surface warfare officer, and then I just recently retired from the Port of San Diego last June. Been a member of the museum most of that time, and looking forward to becoming a docent again. It was once one before back in the 90s, but now I have the time to devote to this, and I'm looking forward to it.
You're right at home here. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Angela. I'm a retired Navy nurse. Don't know much about sailing. Gonna learn that from y'all, but I'm really interested in the skills and the folklore and the culture of medicine aboard ships. What did those interesting people do? Yeah, I want to do that, and I want to engage people in that part, and I'll find a way to sneak it into any docent presentation I do.
Join the sail crew because there's about 5-6 retired doctors.
And they all need a nurse.
You'll have to write a section for our manual.
What is your last name?
I'm from Guam. It's Akfaji.
Last name?
Akfaji. I'm from Guam, so La Jolla would be La Jolla. Like my last name is Akfaji. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you won't like the sail crew. Stay with us.
Calm down, calm down. Bunch of old people.
Thank you, Jim. I'm also Jim. My name is Jim Hildberg. I'm also a former naval officer. Probably people know me as the guy who started the Vietnam War. Don't laugh. I was there. My ship put the first troops into Vietnam. I came back and spent some time in here in San Diego, and then moved around the rest of the country. It wasn't in the Navy. It was in civilian life. I fell in love with sailing. It hit me so hard that I started a sailboat store in Chicago. I had the largest sailing dealership in Chicago. I used to race every week. I owned 17 different boats myself. I sailed across Lake Michigan 4 times, 100 miles in the dark alone. That was fun. I can't do that anymore, but I can walk around and talk about it. Thank you, Jim, for the invitation.
Welcome aboard. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Alan Worth. I'm an ex-Navy chief. All you officers know what that means. That's right. I started sailing when I was about 9 or 10 with my mother on the lakes in Oregon, and from there I graduated to thistles and 505s and Hobie Cats. So, and sailing and sailing history are one of my favorite interests. So I want to be part of making the models and doing the history.
Excellent. Navy chief, does that mean you actually work for a living?
That's right.
Yeah.
I want that known. Everybody should know that. Yeah, that's right.
Hi, my name is Barbara Ring. I'm coming back. I've been a docent, but I've retired now, so now I can do it again. Helped build the San Salvador. I was on sail crew. That was a tremendous experience. So it was really really fun, and I'm looking forward to doing it all again.
You're a trainee. Well, I want you to introduce yourself.
Hello, I just got here today. I heard about this training going on. So I got here, it's early. I'm a senior and I don't get up early, but I did today, just for y'all, and I'm really glad to be here. Oh, my name is Kim Zebel. I am originally Milwaukee. I'm from the Great Lake, Michigan. And I moved to San Diego in '83. So I've been here a long time.
A little while.
It's my second home.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You look familiar.
Hey, Jim. My name's Mark Wasmack, and I'm feeling a little bit out of water. I have no maritime knowledge. I've never had a boat. I don't sail. So the only term I think I know is I think I'm the one in dry dock. My reason I'm here, I know Jim, he is the word, I think he shanghaied me, is that the word? That's the word. But I have a deep interest in history. I've been studying history for 25, 30 years, and Carl, my mentor, wherever he is there. So we were already talking, so he's got little history, but he's learning it here, but he's got the maritime. I've got the history, but no maritime, so we'll make a good pair.
You will learn.
My name is Beth Marbois. I'm a Navy brat. I grew up in IB, and I'm here because of the last volume of the Patrick O'Brien series, if anybody has read that, where you can actually see his handwriting, and you're trying to decipher what he was saying as he died. So I've read that 5-volume series twice, and I'm going to wait till I'm in hopefully make it to my late 80s, read it again. But I'm just in love with that time period of the Napoleonic Wars and the wooden sailing ships.
My name is Eve Verdian. I was drawn in by the beauty and the grandeur of the ships and the marina itself. I don't also have a maritime experience or have a boat.
I'm Brian Chadwell. I've been in San Diego since born. We've had 2 family marinas built on Shelter Island, which was Pitcairn Marina, which is now Shelter Island Marina. And I was a baby when the pilings were being set. And then we owned the Kona Marina, and we sold that to Alan Bond in the America's Cup, and at least we got our money from him. Jerry Driscoll is my sailing director at the yacht club as a little brat. I kept putting motors on my Sabot, the old British Seagull. So I'm a stink potter and a ragman, retired lifeguard, where I started the surf boat operations. One of my boats is Surf Pilot. I've got 5 CF numbers now, and we're surf boat drivers, and helped develop the IRB inflatable boat program, the first one in the United States, and then also patented one of the propeller guards we use as a safety thing. So I like to tinker and shop work, and I just like to be on the water and test and do things on the water.
My name is Dex, and I'm very interested in the history of San Diego, especially San Diego Bay and Mission Bay. And I'm interested in the relevance of all of the vessels to the culture of San Diego and would like to share that. And Tom is my mentor. He outreached this morning at 6:48, said he'd see me there, and so I feel real safe and secure with his assistance.
Thank you. Howdy, I'm Bill. My background is I'm on my 3rd sailboat. I'm fixing up the Catalina 28 right now over at Shelter Island. I volunteered on the San Salvador, made some wooden blocks and stuff, built a wooden rowboat, interest in marine electronics, NEMA, and radar and all that stuff. Thanks.
Could you all please say your last names also? We're notorious around here. We got a lot of people named Bob.
recognize many of you, but I'm coming back after being associated with the Maritime Museum for a number of years in the late 90s. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Jeffrey Heston. Jeffrey Heston. And the question is, why am I here? Okay, why am I here? Why am I here? The museum is a tender trap, and once you get your foot in it, you can't get it out.
Welcome back.
Hey, Jim, we have one that we missed.
We haven't missed anyone yet.
We're still going.
Good morning. My name is Ty Lyles. So it's nice to see all the docents. I was involved with the museum about 21 years ago before I left San Diego for employment. And so I'm back here just for the winter. I live on a sailboat down in National City. And so this, getting involved with something like this is good socially. It's also good for the brain as we age. And so I'm looking to learn new things and meet new people, which is why you join these type of groups.
Morning, everyone. Most of the docents are at least going to recognize my face. My name is Dean Goodspeed. I am the IT coordinator and one of the events, security, and frontline here. I have been attempting to be a docent since last year. Unfortunately, I came in right when we were doing the the last class and the final test. So
Here you are.
Yep, finally able to do this. I don't have much experience with maritime. I am a former Marine, but that doesn't really say a whole lot, unfortunately. All right. I'll be nice and not say what Marines actually stands for, okay?
I'm Carrie McQueen. My background, I came to San Diego in the mid-'80s and started windsurfing. I worked for Naval Training Center and taught sailing there for several years when it was still Naval Training Center. I started racing sailboats for probably 10 or 15 years. I worked at several of the clubs around here. I did boat deliveries. I washed them, cleaned them. I did everything but own them for about, 20 years. Worked for the Port of San Diego for a couple of years, and then went into finance, and I've been working.
I'm so sorry.
It was not an upgrade. But I spent a lot less time on the water, unfortunately, but I was home raising kids for a lot of that time, and we've only got one large child left at home. He's pretty independent, and I've been through the Aubrey Maturin series twice, and I figured it'd be a lot more fun to come do something in person this year instead of start a third round.
Hi everybody, my name is Sandy. I'm actually not part of the docent program. I came to shadow today. I'm interpretive ranger at Cabrillo National Monument, and I just really want to see what you all do and build the partnership with the Maritime Museum more. So, yeah, if you're out there though, I hope we can collaborate and do some fun stuff together.
Welcome. What else do we have here?
My name's Kimberly Wilson. Oh, Kimberly Wilson here. My husband and I were married on Star 25 years ago. This place gets in your blood. I'm on sales crew, and people often ask me questions I can't answer, so I always send them to a docent. So anyway, here to fix that problem.
Hello, my name is Rick Wilson. I'm the husband that married her on the Star 25 years ago. 8 years ago, we joined the maintenance crew. We joined the sail crew. I am now the first mate on the San Salvador and a first mate on the Californian, and also a board member. So, I don't think we're doing enough for the museum. So we're here to do more.
My name's Sharon Klug, and okay. Like Kimberly, Rick, I joined about 12 years ago to do maintenance and sail crew. And again, you always had the questions you couldn't answer. So here we are to try to fill our round to be a docent.
Sharon was doing.
Thank you. Have I missed anyone?
Sharon was doing maintenance before this meeting started this morning. Just down there on the Berkeley entrance, working on that thing.
That sounds about right. My name is Mike Denigan. I've been sail crew here for about the past 7 years. It's where I met my lovely wife, Sarah. Why do I want to become a docent? I mean, I've been sailing here for years. I want to learn more about the history of this place, these ships, the artifacts here, and share some of that knowledge with the public. For those of you who are wondering with a haircut, I am not, in fact, in the Navy. I'm a former Army officer, current police officer.
No.
Happy to be here.
Hi, I'm Grace Navarette Chapel, daughter of a Navy chief.
Yes.
I raised a fourth generation military, my son. Military history all the way back to Japanese occupation in the Philippines, so there's a lot of history there. Oh, and the U.S. Dolphin, my cousin served on, so I'm really curious about that. Right, and what else? Thank you. My kids were legal on water before they were on driving license.
That's great. There you go.
My name is Craig Price, and I'm relatively new to San Diego. Spent most of my life in the Sacramento area. My wife and I have been here about 3 years. Growing up, I spent a lot of time as a kid sailing in Santa Barbara with an uncle who took me out. I fell in love with sailing, and when I was about 12, I swore that I would own a sailboat. 60 some odd years later, I still don't have that sailboat, but I love sailboats, I love being around boats, and I also love history, and I'm really here just hoping to add some value and find a way to contribute to the community and be involved with subjects that I really love. I split my time actually between here and a place called Bainbridge Island up in Washington. And so I'm in and out. But I'm really looking forward to being involved here and working with all of you. Thank you.
Hiding in the back.
Hey, I'm Ed Newlands. It's nice to be here. I have a very similar story to many people here. I grew up reading the Jack Aubrey novels and Frederick Forsyth. I love to sail. My cousin has a 19-foot shrimper, and we've sailed all over this country, and we're going to start going a little international with that, not too far. We're looking forward to that. I sailed on the Californian to Catalina, and that was a great experience. And every time our friends come from around the country, I bring them to this Maritime Museum, and my wife saw this ad in the paper, says, I got something you're going to love, and here I am. So.
Karen is a former crew member, longtime docent. I was in charge of organizing the volunteers for Movies Before the Mast and Tim Flannery's concert way back when, and 100 million other things. And I was, yes, in charge of Rebecca at one point. And anyway, I haven't been around for the past year and a half because unfortunately my parents, who were longtime volunteers,
are now in their 90s. My mother will be 97 next month, and my father is 95 and a half at this point, and unfortunately they are both now officially on hospice. So that has been my life for the past year, along with my husband, who used to work here and who is now Santa. So if you ever know anybody who wants to have a Santa for hire, you can call my husband. He makes a great Santa if you've seen him. So anyway, but my name is Karen Sheldon, so that's who I am. Oh, and I'm a retired school teacher, so I used to teach history and music to middle schoolers.
Oh, no. Okay. Did I miss anybody? Yeah, I'm sure we'll get some new ones next week. We always have a few people coming in second week. So I think you get the impression when I said that we have a wide range of backgrounds.
For sure.
A lot of people to share information with, as you all have to share with us. Also, it gave you an example of people who have promoted themselves from where we're at to other groups. How many of us are also sales crew? About half of us also are on sales crew. Some of which are first mates on the ship. They've earned their way. That's a Coast Guard certification process. So we're not amateurs. We know what we're doing. How many of you are captains? With 3 or 4 or 5 have worked their way all the way up to captaining the ship. As Rick said, some of us are on the board of directors for the museums. There's room for everybody.
This museum, so we just can't do this without you. So really looking forward to meeting all of you, and I hope you have a fabulous experience. I wish I could sit through all the trainings. I try to jump in when I can, but they're really terrific. So I hope you're here for all of those and really enjoy it. So I am Christina Connett Brophy. I've been here for just exactly 1 year. I came here from Mystic Seaport a year ago. It's a great place. And before that, the New Bedford Whaling Museum, where I was there as well for about 6 years as their chief curator. Did a lot of work here with the Portuguese community back in those days. So I've done a lot of work in those areas. Also taught at Rhode Island School of Design for a long time. Lived in the America's Cup Circle for about 20 years with my ex-husband and kids, traveling and sailing all over the world. I was here in San Diego for the Cup in '92, '95 as part of that circus, which is super fun. And I grew up, it is like a traveling circus. And then I grew up on a research vessel called the RV Geronimo out of Newport, Rhode Island, but mostly grew up around the Caribbean, tagging sharks and turtles on a 54-foot yawl with my brother and 6 high school students and our parents. And we're homeschooled. All of our toys were really tiny. We read the same books 1,000 times over. But it was a magical way to grow up, particularly that time in the Caribbean when there really still were a lot of pirates and scary things happening, but it was always an adventure, and we loved every minute of it. Almost every minute. Most minutes, we really loved. So coming into a maritime museum like this one, after all these years of a giant floating museum, it's really magical and special. So I hope you guys love it as much as I have come to love it. So I'm giving you a rather circuitous and down a couple rabbit holes talk, which is sort of a crush together a few different things, but I hope gives you a little bit more perspective on how my brain works, which hopefully is a good way, and also a little bit of context to kind of the future of the museum. You might get questions about some things, about where the museum is headed, particularly since Ray was here for almost 30 years and I'm still new, and I think some people are trying to figure out exactly what it is I'm trying to do. But my biggest goal for this place is to keep it sustainable. So that is the goal for this year, is really looking towards the maintenance of our vessels. You can see a lot of them are in various states of disrepair. And of course, that is not the fault of anyone. We have so many people working on all the boats all the time, but we really need to kind of increase our financial sustainability to help maintain these beautiful boats. So that's the goal. Money and people and time and a plan. So that's where we're going. So So let's get started. So you guys are the storytellers. This is where museums matter. So I often show a slide, which I don't think I have it on here today, what people think of when they think of Maritime. Do they think of something like Winslow Homer's, beautiful Gloucester paintings, fog warning, or various other sort of quintessential 19th century adventure stories? But there are a lot of different ways to think about Maritime. There are 1,000 stories on each of these vessels, and you're each going to find your favorite one. You're going to find things that resonate with you, and those are the stories you're really going to share with the visitors, within the guidelines of the docent training, of course. But you are the front line, you are the storytellers. We are the ones who bring these stories to the public. Most people have never been on a boat in their lives. A lot of times we get students on board. We've been recently inviting the San Salvador, the Salvation Army kids to come visit. Many of them are actually unhoused. Many of them have never even been on the bay. And they come onto this boat and I say, you know what, you're actually at sea right now. You just happen to be tethered to the dock. But you can feel the boat move. It's kind of a nice entry point for a lot of people. But just try to get more kids on the water, try to find that passion that brought you guys all here, is really through your own passion and storytelling. So thank you for that. So what does a museum look like? Not this one, no. Most people think of this, right? This is a brick and mortar, fancy building, it looks like a temple. This is what most people think of when they come to a museum. This is what our museum looks like. It's not traditional. It's beautiful, it's fabulous, but not exactly what people think of when they come to a museum. So we have a lot of institutional needs for the museum that really a lot of the new building that we're hoping to build soon are going to address. But some of the biggest problems that I see, and I hear literally every single day in California and San Diego, and they say, what do you do? I work at the Maritime Museum. There's a Maritime Museum? Where is it? And I say, well, have you not ever seen the Star of India? Oh, the Star of India. Oh, that's a museum? Yes, it is. And then it's like, are you part of the Midway? No, we're not part of the friggin' Midway. Love the Midway. I love Terry. He's wonderful. He's a lovely guy. They're great partners, but no, we are not part of the Midway. So this building project is hoping to meet some of those visitor expectations. You get to a building, you buy a ticket, you see some exhibits, you have real bathrooms, you have great places to fill up your water bottle. We have sun-covered, shade-covered places for students to get together before they get on the boats, all the things that people expect. So you might have seen something along these lines in the past. This was a building that I inherited when I came here. I'm just showing this to you guys. We're not doing that anymore. So that's not the building we're building. It was a really cool idea. It had a lot of great things about it. The biggest problem with it, it was over the water. So when people ask you about this is the shift. But it was going to be over the water like the Brigantine portside. However, it became pretty apparent quickly to me that Coastal was never going to say yes to this. It was a 10% chance of success. So it was a difficult decision to make, but we had to just sort of cut our losses and shift gears because we were just blowing money chasing that animal. But this is our plot line, just so you're aware. We actually are tenants of the Port Authority of San Diego. We are 17 years into a 40-year lease. We're hoping to reset that back to zero with a new building project, which is just going to be different than that one, but we're still doing one. So we technically don't have a scrap of land. We are just in this rectangle here, and this shows the Star of India being pushed across the dock and the old building configuration, which is not happening. But we are technically just leasing the land, the water we're sitting on, and quite a bit around it, and then we have a bit of an easement on the Embarcadero to use for a ticket booth and that kind of stuff. So the Port Authority has, and this is just concept, so don't hold me to this, but the Port Authority, at their invitation, we can move the building project onto land. And yes, in the parking area, which is yes, going to have an impact on parking, and no, we don't know what that's going to mean later, but the port says they have a plan. But we move the building basically, if you pick up the Star of India and put it in the parking lot, it's about that size in the parking area right on the other side of the Embarcadero. So we're now working with Carrier Johnson, an amazing architecture firm, to kind of get that underway. So just so you know, that is a new plan. This again doesn't show the boats, but shows where it would exist in the blue on the right of the water. So these are the questions that I just went through, but that is what we're trying to solve. So I'm now going to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole because of this question, the Star of India. Why does everyone think the Star of India is the museum? Got me down a rabbit hole. I'm a cartographic art historian, so I got really keen on why people had that perception. So first of all, we're a port city, and every maritime museum I know around the world, I'm on the board of International Congress of Maritime Museums, which is about 250 museums around the world. I'm on a board of about 12 people from all over the place, and we're the only West Coast board member. A lot of maritime museums suffer from the fact that they're in a port city, but most port cities eventually turn their backs to the sea. And people don't really remember that the reason the city was built was because of the water. So even like Mexico City used to be an island. That's why Mexico City is where Mexico City is, but the island's sort of been filled in, or the waterways around it. New York is one of the most important ports in the universe, and people sort of forget that when you go to New York City. They don't really see the port, and it's changing that way, I think. But for San Diego, this is who we are. This is why we're here. This is why the Kumeyaay were here. This is why all the people have come in and developed the city, and now people come for other reasons. But this is our core. This I found recently, which I thought was really cool. It's from the Panama, California Exposition, but it actually says, that I can't have my glasses on, the port now talked of round the world. First port of call, North Panama. Most equable climate on Earth. The harbor city of the Southwest, blah, blah, blah. So this is who we were identifying ourselves in the early 20th century as being the best port city, which kind of got forgotten about for a while. So this is a map from 1943. This is the rabbit hole I went down. Was looking at maps. So again, being a map person. So I looked at all these different tourist illustrated maps, and I just found them absolutely fascinating. So you can see on the right that instead of saying the Maritime Museum, it says Star of India, museum ship from 1943. This is a map from later on. Again, I don't have my glasses on, so you can't see anything. But this is the Star of India here. Sorry, this map's kind of fuzzy, but it just says Star of India, Maritime Museum, 1986. Nothing else. Nothing is there except for the Star of India. And then this is even more recent. This is from 2011 that shows USS Midway, Star of India. Nothing else. So this is why people think we're just the Star of India. Kind of cracks me up. And then this is downtown San Diego from very recently, which again just shows a picture of the Star of India as the Maritime Museum. So it's no wonder. I mean, look at the logos on your shirts and on all of your reading material. It's the Star of India as our actual logo. So we're sort of fighting our own selves in terms of awareness. So now I'm going to go down a different rabbit hole very quickly and just kind of talk about maps, because that gives context to what I was just talking about, but there's also a fabulous cartography show that Ray Ashley curated that's going to be coming down soon. So take advantage of that, of sort of bringing people through and getting to know it. It'll be coming down this spring in anticipation of a new exhibit. So I'm just going to talk to you a little bit one of my personal interests, and I'll get back to the museum because it's all related stuff. So when you guys are looking at the cartography show, you're thinking about the impact of the images I just showed you on our own identification. Think about what a map is. So I love this quote: to ask for a map is to say, tell me a story. So what do maps do? They have an agenda, they have an intention. They're a cultural mirror text, a graphic language to be decoded. Imagine if you mapped the world as it truly exists, it would have to be the size of the world itself. So you have to make choices. It's about the silences. What do you leave out? What do you leave in? What language are you using? What colors are you using? What images are you using? So it's a system of codes. It's an abstraction of space. And it's this invocation of authority. They're obviously used for imperialism all the time. I'm going to skim through some of these because I'm already going to talk for too long and I have too many slides because I like looking at them. So what do we do if we don't have a map? Obviously, with things like Theseus and the Minotaur and the Labyrinth is impactful because it's fearsome that we don't know where we are and we're scrambling around in the dark. This is one of my favorite images. This is how I think most people feel at most museums, actually. So why is this important? We can't rely on our memory. This was another one of my favorite pictures by an artist who interviewed teenagers in Las Vegas. So from memory, draw North America. And some of these are absolutely hilarious. Like there's this one, looks like a big giant ham, and then I don't know what some of these are. But I think this would be something I would be challenged to do, I have to say. So this is why we need maps in the first place. They're also really interesting in terms of the perspective, which I think is fascinating. So this is actually an Inuit map that's tactile. I'm dying to get one of these for the museum. And I've always wanted one for every museum. I've never had one. There are only a couple in existence, but they're wooden, so you could feel them through your mitten as you're kayaking, so you don't have to see it. And they're just absolutely wonderful tactile things. So if anyone has a bead on one of these, let me know, because I want one for the museum. So this is a map drawn from memory by an Inuit, and this is one done with modern cartography techniques. So this is the difference between really knowing the coastline and not really having a clue, like most of our teenagers in Las Vegas. But it's really quite remarkable. But this is a really cool, we have some examples of this, replica downstairs. We're looking at the Marshall Islands stick charts. So this is a map really of stars and currents and wind. And there's been a lot of really cool work around kind of recreating this technology and heritage back in the South Pacific. But really amazing. And again, it's totally tactile, it's visual, it's stunning. This to me is one of the best maps ever made. It really is. It's got nothing on it except how to get from here to there. Doesn't tell you any sites, doesn't tell you where the bathrooms are, doesn't tell you where to park, doesn't tell you anything except what station do I need to get off next. There's no difference in distance. Totally awesome map, perfect for its use. So you want the cleanest, least amount of detail to accomplish the task that you have designed it for.
Yeah, going through San Diego Airport.
But now it's so funny. Now you just have the little thing on your map. You just put metro, and it just tells you everything. You don't even need it anymore. That's a whole other thing. So this is a portolan chart, which is made on a sheepskin, which is why it's shaped the way it is. It's the neck of the animal on the left. But you can see the detail of this. I mean, this is from 1492, and that's Spain, man. That's the Iberian Peninsula. And that was taken by details of interviewing all the ship captains, all the crew members, to find out all the information you could to create these portolan maps. So you can see there's really nothing inland, it's all the coast. So that's the portolan chart, but again, this is on skin, and they last really beautifully, but these are purpose-made for the navigation of boats around a coastline. Likewise, with the Mercator World Map, which is the one we all grew up with, a child of the 70s, but that's the projection I grew up with on the classroom wall, was just, if I were gonna draw a rum line from here to there, what would that course be? So this isn't for intricate navigation, obviously, but it's to give people a pretty good idea of how to get from here to there. But when you take a globe and you flatten it, that's what happens. So obviously, this is not the correct proportions on the right because it's been stretched the way you'd have to stretch an orange if you were gonna make it flat. So there's a distortion to it. So this is the Gauls-Peter projection, which shows it corrected. So you can really, and again, there's a lot of problems with this one too, because a lot of people disagree that this is perfect proportions. But you can see now suddenly some places are quite large where before they were quite small. But it shows you a bit of what that distortion might look like. But then it's a point of view. I lived in New Zealand for a long time, and this is the map they use, because they're like, forget all you guys up north, this is our world. Like, there's no reason for north or south necessarily. Suddenly the Pacific is enormous, but you'll see New Zealand is now front and center on the top. And I love that. And just some other fun things to show you some ideas of different maps that might trigger some interest down below. This is one of my favorites. So this is an early Google map. Where you'd literally have these little paper things in your watch as you were driving in the 20s in England, and you'd spin the watch. I don't know how you're driving at the same time. It sounds a little dangerous. but you can sort of spin your watch, and you get these little cards that would fit different routes that people wanted to take. I just love all this stuff. So then this is a map of London for the Great Exhibit of 1851 that shows all of the different buildings and things, so you didn't have to take your glove off, God forbid. As a lady, you could just walk around and then smear it across your face. How that would work. And then one of the big things you'll hear about a lot here is the San Salvador and the big question about the Treaty de Tordesillas and all the things, so we'll talk about that more later. But this is one of my favorite quotes with the geographer section from The Little Prince, that most geographers, most cartographers are sitting somewhere at a desk and gathering information and drawing it on a map. Many of them were not explorers themselves, so they were relying on information from other people. And so it's one of the things to think about when we talk about the Treaty de Tordesillas, which I will mention momentarily. Another wonderful one, depends on your point of view. This is a very famous map, Steinberg's View of New York.
That's my favorite.
It's a great map. You from New York?
Yes.
I just love it. It's wonderful. So yeah, it's like, New York, and then you have the rest of the world, and the rest of the country, who cares? And then it's China, Japan, and Russia. And then this is China, another vantage point from The Economist. And then, of course, there's Sarah Palin's view of the world, which we all found hilarious in the early 2000s. And you can see Alaska from her window. So just some other quick perspectives, things I don't want to carry on too long because I could talk about this all day. But so when we think about orientation, I always find this a really interesting thing to think about. But so say this is definitely a Western perspective, but obviously Islam, Judaism, and Christianity shared a lot of common thoughts, common belief systems in the very beginning. But when you think of Noah, all of a sudden the land came back and he sent his 3 sons off to the universe to populate the 3 continents that we knew about. And I say we as being your obviously Western perspective. So Asia, Europe, and Africa. Shem got Asia, Japheth got Europe, and Shem got Africa. So when you look at that on a drawn map, Jerusalem is the center. It's the belly of the world in a lot of early maps. And when you say orient, like Orientalism, like the Orient, to orient yourself is to east is on the top. So Asia's on the top because that is where the Garden of Eden was. That is where the center of the universe was. And the belly button of the world was Jerusalem for all the major religions. And then these were split by different seas and different rivers to create the 3 known continents. What's really interesting, though, is then this happened, this little inconvenient truth over here. So who was over there? So then they created these same kind of map, but now there's this little like bloop on the corner of like what to do in 1581 with this little inconvenience of the Americas being discovered. Some other fun ones, this is way too big to show in a good slide, so I apologize on a small screen, but this is the Ebsdorf map from the 13th century that just illustrates this really beautifully. You can't see it, I'm sure, because it's so far away, but there's Jesus' little head, there's the Garden of Eden, and then his hands are over here literally encompassing the world and his little feet on the bottom. So he's literally become the body of Christ is the world. And of course, this is pre-discovery of the Americas, but you can see some details there. This is and then this is an Islamic map that is just oriented south up because that is where Mecca is for people trying to get to Mecca. And then also when we're thinking about conquest, all of the games that we all grew up with are all about space and conquest and imperialism. So we have Risk as an obvious one, checkers, Chutes and Ladders. But these are all about occupying space, dominating space, taking over space. Even Candyland. It's about a journey and conquest. So here's the Treaty of Tordesillas that I was talking about. So when you hear about San Salvador, I'm sure you guys know this to some extent, but there was a treaty created that the Pope decided that the Spaniards got this side of the world, the Portuguese got that side of the world. The people who were not Catholic didn't believe in that system. Were like, I'm sorry, what universe do you live in that you can just make that determination? But that's why, of course, like that slice goes through Brazil, and everything to the right of that is Portuguese, including Africa, and everything to the left is Spanish. But that was just really, wasn't an arbitrary decision. It was widely argued about amongst those 2 countries. But again, really what right did anyone have to make that particular line through the sand? But that is one of the reasons why, of course, San Salvador was Spanish coming to this side on the Pacific. And then there's just lots of wonderful examples of imperialism with like British putting their medallion and decorations on Indian maps. This one is one of my favorites. That's from the 19th century that shows in pink all of the Empire of England. And you can't see it terribly well, but there's this England, Europa here with all of the cultures that she dominates. But when you put something on it, what I love about maps is you they're considered to be scientific, but they're not. They're subjective in every single way. And even your Google Maps that you look at on your phone, somebody chose those colors, somebody chose those names, somebody chose what it looks like, what kind of font it has, what's on it, what's not on it. It's kind of interesting when you sort of think about it, but somebody made all those decisions for you. It's certainly not an objective map. And then this one is wonderful of Philip II, who commissioned the book I just showed earlier, where God, this was a gift to him from his father, was this beautiful little atlas. But God is literally handing Philip II the world in this atlas map. The whole world is yours, my son. I'm just going to skip over these because a little bit quick. But this, but then all these sort of like domination maps of, of imperialism and coming to the new world. And here we have the man of science with all of the instruments of navigation. And here is this woman who's sort of lying in her hammock, lying around naked in the middle of the day, doing nothing, lazy. Her spear is leaning against a tree, so she's not feeling scared of this explorer. Back in the distance, you can't really see, but someone has a human leg over a spit, so they're cannibals. They're living amongst the wild animals, and so here comes the Europeans with all the knowledge and fabulousness that they come with. But this is hysterical to me. Does anyone see anything wrong with this image?
The wind is blowing it on the shore.
Yeah, it's like full sail, full speed, heading right to the rocks. So smart. So anyways, but this is a kind of decoration you would see on quite a lot of maps, taken from these sorts of images with different sort of cannibalistic, please save me, we're a mess, we're children, we're natives, and we don't know what we're doing, and certainly justified a lot of the map making process. And this is a much bigger story than I'm making it out to be at the moment. And then quickly, I just wanted to also talk about the edges of the world. So before, when people really did believe in a flat Earth, and I think there still are some knuckleheads who do, but these sort of what's on the edge of the world, what am I going to find on the perimeters, on the margins of the world that is yet to be explored? It's terrifying to a lot of people, but it's also mesmerizing. This is a beautiful map from 1603 that shows fabulous sea monsters and all these incredible things, and the krakens and the wonderful monsters that one will fight in the sea, which is obviously a wonderful, in my opinion, because I know a little bit more about the sea, but but just a really amazing adventure story and all the tales and things we grew up with, and the kraken and all the things. But we still have that. So this is, obviously, we still talk about these types of margins all the time. So this is one of my absolute favorites. It's the first movie my parents had me see. I was 6 years old. And we lived on a boat and tagged sharks every day. So that was fun. And the first person who dies is Chrissy, which is my nickname growing up. Every Chrissy is a ding-dong in every show, or they die or something. So anyway, she was the first one to go. But then we have like Moby Dick, we have all these wonderful sort of marginal depths of the ocean is the last place that we don't know about. But what a wonderful story. And all these creatures, like the Yeti and the Loch Ness Monster and Troll and aliens and Jurassic Park and all these great things. But it all came out of this tradition of the edges of the earth, the unknown, the unmapped, the unknowable. And this is one of my favorites. You get off your reef, and then you never know, you're going to run into Bruce, which was the name of the robot shark in Jaws, FYI, in case you didn't know that. That's right. Oh, that's so funny. Did you hear that? Spielberg's attorney as well was named Bruce. That's hysterical. So also, some of these wonderful treasure maps are things that that tell their own story, that become part of the story. When Treasure Island was written, the original map was lost, and Stevenson had to basically create a new one, and he hated the new map and almost didn't publish the book, because the book was really about the map, and it came about because he was telling his nephew in a rainstorm about this map and this whole Treasure Island and this incredible story that became the story. Somehow the map was lost, but the map came first and then the story, which I thought was fun. And then, for all of us sort of Hobbit geeks in the room, which is me, there are all these like amazing maps that have been created from these adventure stories that people kind of consider to be almost real, which is truly fascinating. And then, of course, like this was on the dust cover of my copy of Winnie the Pooh, but it becomes its own world, its own reality, and its own thing. And just some other fun things, but there are also things that aren't this. They're made in a different way, like a different type of media entirely. This is Kate McLean, who I knew from a long time ago. She did a smell map of Newport, Rhode Island, which I thought was hysterical, and I actually have one of her maps. But she rode a bike all over the island, all around the town, and she recorded all the different smells and where they were, and she made a smell map of Newport, which is where I'm from. So the smells were the ocean, roses, suntan oil, beer bars, bushes, fudge, bird's nests. I don't know what that smells like. I guess it's like cormorants in La Jolla. Ooh. Bait and freshly cut timber. But she made this map of just that. Some of you guys might be familiar with Toby Lester, who wrote a fabulous book about Leonardo da Vinci. He also wrote a beautiful book about the Mercator projection. It was about the Wald-Seemuller map. And that was a beautiful book, writer for The Atlantic. He did a map, a sound map of just what you hear when you really go silent. All the different noises, and he's a musician, so he put each of them to a chord. So he went into an office space, actually both of these, but he went into an office space in the kitchen, and he made a chord for like the microwave and the refrigerator and the heater coming on and this happening, and it was this like discordant, like horrible noise when you put them all together. And so he made these soundscapes for different areas and made maps of those to kind of think about what it is we subject ourselves to every day. Anyway, it's kind of fascinating. He's awesome, and I would love to get him to speak here sometime, actually. And then people like Andy Goldsworthy, who does these sort of temporary maps, so just lie down in the rain and find, if you haven't seen his films and work, it's amazing. And then this is another one of my favorites, Mark Bennett, who made blueprints of like the Flintstones house and the Jetsons and Bruce Wayne's cave and all the things. So just kind of think about these imaginary spaces and making them real. Anyways, they're fun. So, San Diego. I found this. There's this guy who makes these really fun maps based on historic maps, but then adds monsters to them. So this is San Diego. But just thinking again, bringing it back to the Star of India of like why we think that the museum is just about the Star of India. It is in that power of maps that a lot of this sort of awareness comes from. And I think that's something that we are thinking about. How do we embrace that, or how do we shift it? And that's kind of where we're trying to decide, like, why fight it if that's where we are, but the building should help us get to where we need to be. I do have a few more slides of things that I have kind of covered already. But just quickly, why is that not working? Oh, yeah, so just thinking quickly of future of the museum. How much time do I have? None? Am I out of time, Jim? Do I have a few more minutes?
She's the president.
I have 25 minutes? Oh, I don't know, I'm talking so fast. All right. So going back to, you guys have more important things to do than listen to me. But sort of thinking about, again, that sort of what maritime means and what's a mariner. So I'll just talk briefly about kind of the future of this place and sort of where I see it coming forward. So this is I just saw this actually in person at the MFA a couple weeks ago for the millionth time. I love this painting. But it's the fog warning. This is what most people think of when they think of a mariner, in my opinion, from the East Coast. This is what we think about. But you see here, like, the halibut in the dory. You see the ship far away. It's called the Fog Warning by Winslow Homer. And the ship is, I can't remember, it's heading off into the fog. Is he going to make it in time? Yeah. He's all alone. It's really based on, this painting was done right after the famous Blackburn story, if you remember Blackburn. He was a real person who, around this time, around 1890s, late 1880s, he was in a dory like this with a dory mate. Fog came in, ship disappeared. They were left out there in the freezing cold. His partner died overnight, frozen to death in the dory. He managed to row his way, I think, to Nova Scotia, if memory serves. But he purposefully froze his hands to the oar so that he wouldn't lose the grip on the oars, because he knew if he didn't keep rowing, he would die. So when they found him, he did get rescued. They had to cut the oars off of his hands, and he lost all of his fingers. Gruesome story. However, he went on to single-handedly sail across the Atlantic with no fingers. Couldn't get enough of it. And he had a bar called like Blackburns, and he made a ton of money telling his story. He got published in the paper, and the story was really popular. And that's probably where Homer got the idea to do this painting. Although here the fisherman is only by himself as well, which is even scarier. That is not typical of what would happen. But anyways, this is kind of what an East Coaster would think maritime usually means. You know, unless you're in the Navy or something, but this is kind of the romantic view. But now it's a lot of things. So this is a friend of mine, Susie Flores, who's an aquaculture farmer, kelp farmer off of Connecticut. This guy's growing fish on land. The water never even touches the ocean. This is Gyre Robotics, which is a data collecting system that's now being used in Camp Pendleton, but they're from Rhode Island. But they're these awesome little robots. I had one in my last museum. You throw them in the water and you can pilot it with an iPad, and kids, I thought it was so fun. But super fun. This is a guy on a cargo ship that's putting up wire, razor wire against pirates in the Red Sea. There's a lot of AI blue tech happening around this area, which you're going to hear me speak a lot about. And then people who are sort of behind the scenes, who are down in the engine room, they're not mariners. There might be a welder or a mechanic or something, but just took the job. And then this is one of my favorites. So America's Cup sailors now hiring professional bikers to be the hydraulic system rather than grinding with their arms the way they used to in the old days. These are bicyclists. They're just biking away. So they're not sailors. You might remember when I was here in '95, the women's team had an American Gladiator on board who was just the biggest woman they could find, and she was an amazing person. I loved her. She was deaf, and she was a tank, and she was so strong, but she'd never been on a boat in her life. But she was the guns behind the hydraulic systems. So you never know. And then, of course, around here particularly, but really globally, surfing. And this kind of is rethinking how we're talking about maritime. Of course, that's maritime. And just sort of thinking about, why we matter. How do we provide value? Why are we here? Why are you guys here wasting your time? Volunteering at a maritime museum. Like, what are you hoping to bring to the public? What do you want to share with the public? How do we provide value to people? So one of the ways that I'm looking at this museum is moving us into the 21st century more aggressively. So looking at the connections from the San Salvador to a WASP. Like, when did that happen? There's a lot of work done around sort of the fine line between flying and sailing and this hyper technology. The America's Cup certainly was a big part of that and still is to this day. So how do we kind of get that next generation of people to be really interested in the water in an age of ocean sustainability being huge attention in the world today, at least in most countries. So this is one of the iconic images I have to sort of look at that relationship. So this is a Star class yacht. We have one somewhere out in the desert in storage, but with a World War I airplane wing attached to it. So this picture was taken in 1923. Whiting was this really just fascinating yachting guy. But he said it didn't really work that well because the hull wasn't designed to take on a wing, and it was hard to steer it, and they hadn't quite figured it out. But he said, while it cannot be said that the rig is perfect, there are great possibilities for its modification in the future, but then we do not care to prophesy. And I apologize, some of you guys have seen some of these slides before. But this is one of my favorite images. This is 100 years ago. Someone was playing around with that fine line between flying and sailing. And this is what we have now. So these are literally fixed wing sails made out of giant airplane wings, the size of a Boeing, whatever, 747? Yeah, 747. And here again, like the WASP, you see it's barely tethered to the water. Like if you didn't have that keel with the wing underwater, it would take off like an airplane. So it's actually being held in water by that little rig on the bottom with fixed wings. And now you have ships doing that. You see this in the news quite a lot these days. This is a real boat that has folding fixed sails to help with fuel consumption. So when it goes under bridges, you can put the sails down. Same thing, right? This is a design done in anticipation of the OPEC crisis to reduce fuel consumption on cargo vessels using this design of a sail attached to the vessel, but they're almost like wings. So these are now being made. They weren't made in the 60s because we didn't have the material technology to handle that kind of weight with that kind of material. So now we do. So now there's the Maltese Falcon. There are a few others, the Black Pearl. These are super yachts. You can rent them for, I think it's like $1.5 million a week if you're interested in chartering one of these puppies. So, so on the left is Maltese Falcon. So this entire boat, like if you look at the Star of India or the HMS Surprise or San Salvador, Californian, miles and miles and miles of rigging and line everywhere, trip hazards, arms losing, falling, all kinds of things. These don't have a single line. You can operate this entire boat with an iPad. So they all turn like, the sails turn like this, the sails go into the mast. You don't have to do anything really except push a button, and it flies along at a great pace. The other thing that it does, unlike the Star of India, is this all based on clipper ship design. So there's no gap here from the spars to the next spar. These are all completely fixed like an airplane wing, but they're based on clipper ship inspiration. The one on the right is actually a new shipping company called Veer based out of Bahamas, and these are being constructed right now. Super bougie way to ship your stuff because it'll cost you 5,000 times more than if you just send it on a regular cargo ship. But if you have that kind of money and that's part of your brand, it's a really cool product to be able to sail on one of those boats.
No diesel fuel either.
No diesel fuel, those are all renewable. Yeah, exactly. So that's the kind of stuff we want to start talking about. So I showed this here, just I've been doing a lot of speaking around the world. This was actually in Amsterdam last year, looking at blue economy, blue technology, and maritime museums, and how maritime museums can play a more important role in that. We're partnering a lot with the Port of San Diego, which is doing really cool work. Again, we're tenants of them, but they're doing really cool innovation, accelerator programs, investing in new technologies. So we've been doing a lot of stuff with them, and we're the third party. We can tell the story that no one knows what they're doing, so we should be talking about it. We're participating in things like Blue Tech Week, so we had demo days for robotics. You'll see a lot more exhibits starting to pop up down below on the Berkeley. We're partnering with things like One Ocean Expedition, the Statsraad Lemkool, which came here this fall, which hopefully you guys got a chance to see. Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, with Atlantis coming here from time to time with the little Alvin. I tell people that I have Alvin socks because I'm such a dork, but I love this little submarine. So, but talking more about ocean exploration and high technology and how that's coming into the commercial workplace and affecting all of our lives. This was a good story, but this is a hydrogen hybrid research vessel from Scripps Institute of Oceanography that I was hoping to have come here. I will someday, I'm sure, but they just lost their funding, so unfortunately. So they're going to have to relook at their model to be purely renewable energy, unfortunately, but they might have to do more of a hybrid because of recent federal cuts. This is out and about. This is a fully electric tugboat with Crowley. So this is happening right down the street, and we should be celebrating it and talking about it and what kind of impact that really makes. We're trying to instigate more of a visiting vessel program, so maybe we don't keep adding boats to the collection, but we just borrow boats for a weekend, so we can still have a good sort of energy happening around all the cool things happening around us, but we don't actually have to own everything. So this is, although I would kill to own this one, I have to say, this is a Western Flyer that's been here twice in the last year. I know I'm the worst at this, but it's John Steinbeck took this boat to the Sea of Cortez with Doc, and it's been refurbished for like $7 million, and it's now an education vessel based out of Monterey, Moss Landing. But they came and visited a couple times, and our members were involved. It was super cool. We hope to have them back. Looking at new programs like I run an international maritime refugee group with about 40 museums. So talking to the Vietnam boat community here about celebrating Maritime Refugee Day with our SWIFT veterans in June. So we're hoping to make that happen. Different ways to connect with the community and the vessels and kind of getting people involved. I just love these guys. They're so cool. So again, San Diego, Port City. Let's not lose sight of that. You can see our Star of India in there somewhere. But this is, from our point of view, we are the key story of the city. We are, in my opinion, the most important museum in the city to talk about why we're all here, why this matters, who's our community, how do we engage with that community, and so that's why we're going to invest in this next phase of the project. We're thinking we don't have a new price for the new building, but it's not going to be cheap. It's also going to include a major refurbishment of our barge system. So we're looking at a new barge system, moving the Star of India away from the dock so people don't take a selfie and say, hey, I saw the Maritime Museum. What Maritime Museum? But we moved the Star of India farther away, so you have to buy a ticket. It also opens up the viewpoint. So when we have this new building, you'll really get this spectacular view of our whole fleet. So we're looking at the whole museum as part of Gateway, not just the building. So when anyone asks, also if anyone has any bazillionaire friends, we would love to meet them, because we need about that. But we really want to replace all the systems, the moorings, the lines, and have a true maintenance plan for the ships moving forward, so we can really get ahead of some of the work that needs to be done. And this is a totally artificial but really cool picture of what the vista could look like through the new building space in the public area. So again, you guys are our storytellers. I love this. This is the boyhood of Raleigh, listening to an adventurer, inspiring him to go to great heights and great horizons in his childish mind at the time. But this is you guys, and I really appreciate all the work you're going to put into this program, having you on the front line, getting people inspired, getting kids to be excited about the ocean, whatever part they can play on it, in it, around it, however that's possible. You guys are going to be a pathway for them. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I'm here.
Well, thank you very much. As we say, we're here to tell a story. There's about, 80 stories there? You just take off on, and just all kinds of things. But any questions? I'm sure somebody.
What does the attendance figures look like yearly, annual to annual, over the last 10 years or so?
It's been hovering between 80 and 100,000, more or less. And we have a lot of local visitors as well. And we're trying to really look local first, and then the tourists will come as when I'm moving.
They're always here.
They're always here. Yeah, Sarah?
Is there any plan to start renewing Festival of Sail or any of those kind of I guess the historical big things that the museum's doing?
Yeah, I'm hoping to. We were hoping to do something for the Tall Ships America conference, but they kind of couldn't logistically make it happen. So I'm hoping that we could even this summer just do like a fun demo day that doesn't have tickets. It's just really volunteers and staff and interested people to just come out and have fun on the boats with the America and Bill of Rights. Long term, that would be awesome. Yes. This year might just be a fun sail. Mm-hmm.
Is there any outlook for like America's Cup or Sail GP or any of those to come back to San Diego?
I know that the yacht club, you guys probably know this better than I, but I know the San Diego Yacht Club was trying really hard to get the America's Cup back again, but it didn't pan out. So I don't know. I'm sure it'd be awesome, but I don't think so. Yeah. What's that?
You have to win first.
Yeah, we have to win first, for sure. Yep.
So, what do you, with GPS and with all the electronics, what do you see as the future for maps?
Interesting question. I think we always need them, even with all the GPS. I mean, you guys who've sailed, everything breaks.
Yeah.
You need a paper map, you need a backup system. I mean, I always have every single kind. I have the chart, I got my phone, I have my B&G, I got all the things, I got my sextant. I think maps are here to stay, for sure. But I do feel like there's some, like NOAA is not printing them anymore. So some of that stuff's changed, but I think other places are starting to fill that gap. But with our silly little phones, it certainly has taken away our sense of navigation, our internal navigation. Yeah?
Just to follow up on the financial aspect, because that sounded like the goal you were trying to achieve is to have more financial stability. What would you want to see as the largest income change proportionally? Like, do you want more visitors? Do you want more development from rich people? I obviously mentioned bazillionaires.
Kind of all the things. But right now, we're really focusing on our events. So we're trying to ramp up our revenue generation from weddings and burials at sea and conferences and all that kind of stuff. We have this beautiful venue. It should be filled every day, you know. So we're really trying to get more people aware of these venues and how that might work. We have a great new events person named Wendy you'll see walking around. So she's already sold a bunch of business in the last 2 weeks for this year, which is great. But that private philanthropy is huge. Federal dollars are challenging right now. The state has, California's not getting a lot of funding because we're California from the feds, and that's affecting a lot of other things. So we really have to be more nimble. We're looking at new models like this spring, we're going to be doing a youth fashion show as a co-beneficiary with, say, San Diego Youth. So that'll be on the Berkeley in early May, I think. So looking at different ways of doing things. I've never done that with anyone, co-beneficiary fundraiser, but we have a sponsor and they're excited, so that's where we're going to go. And then this Gateway project is going to be a big help with that. Yeah?
With your communication with other museum directors, whether you're in San Diego or you're from the East, where are museums going generally? My perception due to social changes is that younger people, younger adults, museums just, that's not in their DNA. And that's just not where they see spending money, time.
Yeah,
Reading, I mean, they put reading books, the whole.
Right.
What do you hear generally about?
I think that's a big question because a lot of people say, well, you have to go like 100% tech or 100% something to make it, popular with kids. My kids are in their 20s, and again, they grew up in sort of a museum household, but I think that we all have to adapt to some extent. We're, like I'm saying, moving into the 21st century. That doesn't mean we're not going to be talking about history or we're going to replace the Star of India with a rocket ship or anything. But we have to create that thread of relevance for the kids to come here and say, oh, that's where my story is. Whether it's as a Vietnam boat person or a Navy kid or a fisher's daughter or somebody interested in robotics. Like those are things, we just have to find those threads of relevance for our community. Yep.
Speaking of naval history, does the museum have any specific plans on celebrating the history of the U.S. Navy here in San Diego as we come up on the 250th anniversary?
Another great question. We are doing some things. Kevin and I are going to be working on some kind of celebration, but I'm not entirely sure what that's going to look like yet, to be honest. We have a couple of grants in the works right now for the education department, for the Living History program for the 250th of the United States. So we're hoping to get that to sort of bolster that program. But for the Navy, I think it's going to be more programming and not an exhibit at this moment.
Maybe the Constitution can come back.
Yeah.
Is there any thought about changing the name of the museum, maybe Maritime Museum at the Star of India?
We actually we were joking about just calling it the Star of India, we're just the Star of India. Yeah.
Would you go ahead and invite the Docents to our potluck in town hall?
Oh yeah, sure. Yes, absolutely. So what's the date?
31st.
Okay, so January 31st from 4.
Starting at 4 until I throw you out.
Until Rebecca throws you out. We are having a celebration of all the volunteers. You are very welcome, of course, to attend as our newest cohort. But that's going to be a potluck and a town hall. So just a great way to celebrate. If you want to come, please register. Rebecca can send the link, and you can so we have a head count. And if you want to bring a dish, that would be very much appreciated. And there will also be an opportunity to ask questions, a bit of a town hall atmosphere. Again, talk to Rebecca about that. Yeah?
Do we have any formal relationships with the museum on the Midway?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we do ticket sharing with them. So we have a price ticketing sort of partnership with them, and the Seals Museum as well. The new Seals Museum, which is terrific. If you haven't been down to that, it's absolutely wonderful. The guy running that's very cool.
If you buy a ticket here, you can get a discount there?
Correct. Yeah.
And vice versa?
Yep.
Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Quick question. Do you remember when the Eagle came in, the training vessel for the Coast Guard cadets, and it was free to the public? Could there have been an opportunity where we could have worked with the Coast Guard and say, let us our volunteers be down there and charge a small fee, and it goes?
They're not allowed to sell tickets.
Okay.
So that was a question. We actually invited them to come here and stay on our dock, but then it was a question of then we have to have people come for free through the museum, and then just logistically, we just couldn't accommodate their needs. They needed a forklift and all kinds of things. But yeah, it's a little challenging with the Coast Guard because of their financial restrictions. But we did partner with them and did a lot of sort of cross promotion for sure. It's a very cool boat.
What about leasing out the museum for plays like they did, what, 3 years or 4 years before the mast?
Mm-hmm.
Richard Henry Danis, I mean, I brought my father to that, and that was so good. The smell of the boat, and it was perfect.
Yeah, and we are doing more and more of that. You'll
We
see a
didn't hear
lot
the
more.
question. Please
Oh,
repeat
it
the
was about
questions.
leasing out the boat for events, like for theater and such things, which we will be doing a lot more of this year. So we did just have the Flannery event, for example, in the bottom of the Star of India. If you got a chance to go to that, that was so cool. But we do have a much more aggressive program slate this year. So you'll see more. Yeah, it's pretty special.
One-man play, it was so good.
Cool. That's really neat.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Brophy, for talking with us today. I think we've got a lot of things to look forward to in the future, and we're very fortunate to have Dr. Brophy here at this time for the history of the museum. I think we've got a lot of things to look forward to. So thank you.
Thank you.